Welcome to this Tutor to You Criminology video for WJEC Level 3 Applied Criminology. In this video we're going to discuss maternal deprivation as part of Assessment Criteria 2.2, looking at individualistic theories of criminality. Individualistic theories of criminality focus on an individual's upbringing and personality traits, and how this influences their criminality. These theories are broken down into psychodynamic theories, learning theories, and personality theories. One psychodynamic theory that examines how our upbringing affects our chances of committing crime is Bowlby's maternal deprivation hypothesis. This suggests that disruption in our attachments to caregivers in early childhood causes trauma that lives with us into adulthood. Illness, separation, or loss from caregivers in childhood can influence our behaviour according to this theory, and a lot of evidence of this is put forward by Bowlby himself. Maternal deprivation theory was developed by Bowlby as a result of his earlier observations into juvenile delinquency. In his 44 Thieves study, Bowlby studied 88 juvenile delinquents, 44 of whom had criminal records for theft, while the other 44 did not. He compared the experiences of childhood of these two groups, paying particular attention to disruption to relationships with parents during the critical period of development. 17 of the 44 thieves had experienced some form of parental deprivation in comparison to just 2 of the non-thieves. Of those 17 thieves that had experienced some form of deprivation, 15 showed little remorse or regret for their actions, what Bowlby typified as affectionless psychopathy. Following this research, Bowlby formulated his maternal deprivation hypothesis. He suggested that criminal behaviour in later life is a result of disruption to attachment during the critical period of childhood development. He argued that a warm and intimate, continuous relationship with a mother or primary caregiver is necessary for a healthy emotional development. A loss of such a figure, through either death, illness, or enforced separation, negatively impacted on the ability of children to have healthy relationships later in life. Like Freud's psychodynamic theory, Bowlby suggested that trauma in childhood had lasting effects on the child and would be the cause of serious emotional impacts that would carry on into adulthood. Some of the impacts Bowlby identified are listed on the screen. Firstly, an inability to form attachments in the future, particularly emotional and trusting relationships. A further impact of disrupted attachment was affectionless psychopathy, that is, a lack of remorse or empathy with others. Delinquency and problems with cognitive development, regulating emotions, and higher levels of underachievement are other impacts that Bowlby concluded were a result of maternal deprivation in early childhood. And these factors are common within many different studies of the backgrounds of criminals. In evaluating the maternal deprivation hypothesis, it's important to note that later revisions to the maternal deprivation hypothesis outline deprivation from a primary caregiver rather than simply a maternal figure, so this includes fathers, grandparents, and others in the child's life. Bowlby's hypothesis did, however, lead to changes to ensure a healthy bond remained between caregiver and child. For example, caregivers being given permission to stay in hospital with children who are ill for longer periods of time. However, there are some limitations of Bowlby's work. Other research into children isolated with illness, for example tuberculosis, did not repeat the findings of Bowlby's research. Furthermore, Rutter, who also investigated the impacts of developmental changes on adult attitudes, argues that Bowlby failed to distinguish between deprivation, privation, that is where children had failed to form an attachment with a caregiver, and loss of attachment, merely assuming that one form of deprivation would negatively impact on all behaviours.